and WPS came in, reducing their premiums by 13 or 19%. Obviously a high deductible plan, because you are raising the deductible, the premiums are less. So this is one advantage for both an employer and an employee, is that you're seeing less premiums, so that's a good savings there.
Do you have the amounts, like what that equals, like, so I can compare it to the 820?
I'm going to get to that. Like I asked, just wait to the end. I promise I'm going to try to answer a majority of your questions. Deductible of the plan for single is $2,000 and $4,000 for family, and that's for both WPS and WIA. Basically doubling the deductible from the standards. Remember, the standard plan is $1,000, $2,000, so this would double it from $2,000 to $4,000. Once again, co-payments increase out-of-pocket maximum for WPS. As I mentioned in the previous slide, very difficult to reach that out-of-pocket. So this is going to give you a look at some single plan. You can see this is the proposal for United Healthcare, 902 for the standard, and then 801 for the high deductible. And if you compare that to WIA and WPS, that kind of gives you a ballpark on a monthly basis on the savings of those premiums. Okay? You want to write those down real quick?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just for single, right?
This is just single, correct. Next slide is family. Okay? Got them? Okay. Here's family. Once again, you can see here's United Healthcare's proposal for family options for both. Once again, blue is the standard plan, red is the high deductible plan, and you can kind of see the incremental savings here on the premiums. Once again, these are monthly premiums between UHC compared to WIA and WPS. WPS for both the high deductible and the standard are the lowest. So that was something that when we sat down and looked at the benefits committee, definitely something that we considered. Okay? Got those down?
They're in the packet. Those numbers are in the packet.
Oh, I might be.
So let's go to health spending accounts. If you're not familiar with health spending accounts, if you were to play like a game, an association game, associate health spending accounts with high deductible plans, okay? You can only have a health spending account if you have a high deductible plan. So our current standard plan, we could not have a health savings account. That's why right now for our current employees for a number of years, we have offered flex spending accounts. There's pluses and minuses. I probably won't get into that detail tonight unless if it's absolutely needed. But no, because of health spending accounts slightly different, we are associating this with the high deductible plan. So what this means is if an employee wants to stay on the standard plan, they will not be eligible for this. This is only for employees that want to enroll in the high deductible plan. Okay? So typically when you have a high deductible plan, you have HSA, health savings accounts, that employees will want to start collecting and saving money for future medical expenses. To incentivize that plan, it's typical for an organization to provide some kind of health savings account contribution to make that plan more attractive. Especially think of an employee, if you've been on our standard plan for a number of years and are considering switching to a cheaper high deductible plan. Well, let's say if I have a medical purchase early on in January and I have nothing in my health savings account, that becomes a concern because you want to utilize that account if you have some purchases that you need to make or had an accident that you wanted to use that account for. So that's another nice advantage of an employer providing some contributions, making that plan more attractive. You'll see in a later slide, and I'll get to kind of the proposal I'm outlining for you tonight, but the proposal I'm outlining tonight does have the village contributing some extra dollars into the employee's health savings account, but in the end it's still a savings. And I think that's kind of my end game here. Is it's very rare I can stand up here and give you a win-win. But I think I'm hoping I have one for you tonight. And that's always a win for me too. So that's a win cube, I guess you could call it. But what I'm trying to get at is that with this plan, the village is going to financially save some dollars. Hopefully employees can save some dollars and better be educated about their medical purchases. And I think those are some of the nice benefits of a high deductible plan. So all the accounts would be in one bank, which would be North Shore Bank. So when we do our enrollment process, we would all have them have an account with North Shore Bank. What I'm proposing is a standard every year contribution from the village for $400 for single, $1,200 for the family plans. And then in addition, this is the wellness dollars that has been part of the standard plan. So right now with the standard plan for the 10 and 15%, that is the dollar difference for the single and the family. So all I'm asking is to carry that, continue that, because if we don't have this part, then employees won't do the high deductible because they're getting those wellness benefits with the standard plan. So we need to carry this over for sure. And then these are additional contributions that can help put dollars into their account. So this is probably a really important slide for you to see. I worked with Mark and the Horton group. We crunched some numbers to show, okay, with this current proposal, what is the savings for the village? So this is going to help answer that. First of all, just talking about the standard health insurance plan. For all those employees that stay on the standard health insurance plan, the village estimates a savings up to $40,000. So when we had the first budget session and I gave you the 10-12% number, Mark and I were a little scared, but we felt content through this process and we would give you a good solution, or hopefully a good solution. So because of the 2.5 reduction in rates with the proposed WPS, which is the plan we're proposing, we're estimating a savings of $40,000 from this year's to next year's budget. So that's a good talking point. In addition, for every employee that transitions from the standard plan to the high deductible plan, the village saves, and then I say pending union and non-union, because right now union employees pay 12%. So for those employees, there's actually going to be a slight additional savings for the village. Okay, so we would save $780 for every employee that is in the non-union. For every union employee, we'd save $1,085 that are on the single plan. Okay. For every employee that makes this transition on the family plan, non-union, $2,150 in savings, union, $3,075.
Is that in addition to the 40,000?
In addition, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay? So,
Access.
That assume the HSA contribution.
yes, it does.
That's factored in.
Yes, that's correct. That's because of the significant reduction in premiums. I mean, when you're talking about almost 20% in health insurance premiums, that allows us to have some flexibility to make these plans attractive for employees and be able to be able to save on those plans as well.
That's go back one. Is that annual or monthly or what?
This would be annual.
That's annual.
Yeah, so if you, let's say we had 10, let's say a 10 non-union family plan switch, that'd be $21,000 in savings.
Because the previous slide, it looked like you had a $400 savings for the, approximately for the high deductible.
This is how much, this would be the standard, what we would put into the HSA. That'd be the village contribution. Let me finish here and then I'll be happy to answer additional questions. Just extra things to consider. Retirees. Retirees are not impacted by this at all. The only thing they're impacted is they have an additional option when they retire. So right now, as you know, we have a grandfather clause in the HR manual that any employee, such as myself, hired after 2012, has no retirement benefit. So that's another advantage of an HSA is if any employee, which I'm not on our plan, and I'm on my wife's plan to save the village some money, so I just want to slip that in there. Besides the point, right?
Sled program now.
Yes, I just want to add that in there. But any employee though that is hired in that situation, they have no way to save, for retirement, for medical. This is one of the reasons why I want to get this started is because it gives them that option. They can use those HSA contributions, and if they're not making any medical purchases, those carry over from year to year to year, and those are some medical savings that they have with them. For those employees that are hired before 2012, the village has agreed to some health contributions toward them to pay, I think it's 100% for single, 50% of family. So those percentages don't change. They can still stay on the standard plan if they want.
Up until they're 65.
Up until they're 65, correct, and then they go on Medicare. But let's say if I'm someone that wants to stay on the family plan, I have to pay 50% of that out of my pocket when I retire. All of a sudden, this high deductible plan is a nice option because it's a lower premium. So that's another nice benefit, and the village is paying another 50% of that, which is a much lower cost than standard plans. And that's not even savings that I'm showing you tonight, because I have no idea how Mark and I can predict what retirees are gonna do with those two options. Just know that's an added benefit to both employees and the village. In addition, the village will need to consider amending the union contract November 6th. So right now in the union contract, it states the employees in the union pay 12% of health insurance, village pays 88%. Because the contribution levels would be at 10% for the high deductible, we would want to make a nice amendment to that to allow them to pay the 10%. And obviously the union's going to probably want to do that because they're not going to want to pay 12% for it, they're going to want to pay the 10%. So just know that's an item to come. And then anytime I raise a policy issue, I always want to play devil's advocate. I always want to look at the other side and say, why might not this be a good idea? The one thing that I can think of is this point. It's always a risk involved on both sides when adjusting a health insurance plan. It is nearly impossible for us to necessarily predict employees that are currently not enrolled in the village plan and what they're going to do. So anytime you make an adjustment, there might be more people that aren't on the village insurance plan that might see something really attractive to them and join our health insurance plan. Now that's, while that's nice that we're providing a good benefit to employees, I also want to be fiscally responsible and keep that in the back of my mind. So just know anytime that we do that, that's certainly something to think about. So this is my last slide. 2 things to consider. Number 1 is the changing the insurance carrier from United Healthcare to our recommended WPS health insurance. And 2, I have a language in the HR manual that we would amend that would illustrate how to implement and administer this program, which I can answer any questions on any of those 2 items or anything I presented at this time.
Thank you. Questions for Tyler?
What are we paying employees to waive their coverage?
$250. That's only for employees that were hired before 2002. We have also waived that. So any new employees coming in, that is a benefit that's not provided to them. I believe that is still though in the union contract, so any police officers that are coming on are still eligible for that benefit.
If somebody gets married mid-year, the contribution goes up next quarter. Is that the HSA, usually it's quarterly HSA contribution?
Yeah, they would be quarterly.
If they change their family status mid-year, does the contribution increase?
They would, yeah, so if they change from single to family, that next quarter they would then receive the family contribution.
Trustee Rosie?
When was the last time we went out to bid for our healthcare? I know we had 0% increase, but obviously they have a much better rate. When was the last time we requested?
Well, typically what we've done in the past is we have always reached out to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, because you're going to be more the expert on this question than I, but typically in years past we'll reach out to United Healthcare and ask for a, hey, well, if we were to renew with you without going out to market, what would you do? Last 2 years we got 0%. I think it was 3 years ago, or, yeah, 3 years ago, I believe that we did go out to market and we still renewed with United Healthcare.
Do we have like a, I'm just asking for future years, but do we have a policy? I mean, the only reason I ask is maybe last year we could have gotten a rate reduction, we could have done this last year. Is there like every 3 years? I mean, how often are we, as a village, do we explore other rates?
Well, let's put it this way, and Alex, you can
What does
chime
the
in.
consultant recommend?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to handle this
Yeah,
one?
I'll sure.
Yeah.
Good evening, Alex Woody with Clerk. Thanks for having me. So in years past, we get a loss ratio report from United Healthcare, which is claims versus premium paid. And generally 85% is kind of their break-even point, and then once you add medical inflation and some other things, that's how they get their renewal. So in the past, we've had very favorable loss ratios, and we thought the 0% increase that we had the last 2 years was very fair. This year, we had a loss ratio in the high 70s, so still very favorable. And United Healthcare came out with a 12% increase, which we did not think was fair. So we asked them to go back and sharpen their pencil. They did not want to do that, so that's why we recommended going out to the market. To answer your question about should we do it every 3 years or every 2 years, we certainly can. We're happy to do the work.